Hi, we are still in winter and I want to take a moment and think about ants. So imagine you're on a picnic blanket in the summer and one little ant crawls on your picnic blanket. You're probably fine, right? You can handle one ant on your blanket. What if there were 100 ants on your blanket? Would you still be sitting there having your picnic? No, probably not. You would be frantically shaking your blanket to get them all off your blanket and you'd be running away. Ants are automatic negative thoughts, and Dr. Daniel Amen came up with this term, and he really talks about how our ants can kind of consume our brain. Think about your automatic negative thoughts. Think about one piece of spaghetti is one automatic negative thought. So you wake up in the morning and you check your email and you forgot to do something and someone was like, hey, I was really hoping you could get this done. And you were like, oh my gosh, I'm so bad at this. I totally messed up. That's a piece of spaghetti. Every next thought you have about how you have underdelivered or done something wrong or messed up in some way is another piece of spaghetti. So yes, you cannot be full and your life would not be impacted with one piece of spaghetti. But by the end of one day, you might have an entire bowl of spaghetti. Imagine after a week, how much spaghetti you would have if every one strand represented one negative thought. We have thousands of thoughts every hour, and some research thinks that 70% of those thoughts are negative. We need wheelbarrows to carry all of the spaghetti that we have coming through our thoughts. So when we think of our ants, our automatic negative thoughts, they really fall into one of 9 overarching categories. And Dr. Daniel Amen thinks that these negative thoughts are really responsible for the majority of negative thoughts that we have overall. And why these are so important is because every time you have a thought, any thought at all, your brain releases a chemical. Now, if you have a negative thought, your brain releases a certain kind of chemical. If you have a positive thought, your brain releases a different kind of chemical. So if you are flooded with many automatic negative thoughts, if your thoughts are very, robust and covering lots of different ways of how you mess up and how you are not good at things and how you have let people down, you will have not only a giant bowl of spaghetti or many ants on your picnic blanket, you will have many hormones running through your body with this negative chemical in it, right? The cortisol and the stress inducers and the inflammatory chemicals and things that actually can make you sick, right? So we have to be aware that our thoughts become part of what designs our body's success and our mental success to be. So being full of negative thoughts has absolute repercussions for us in many ways, not just in our business, but in our health, in our wellness. And so let's talk about what some of these 9 automatic negative thought categories are. And I want you to start thinking, what are the ones that you gravitate towards? What are the ones as we're reading through and you say, oh yeah, that's totally me. That's me. I do that all the time. And I want you to think about that because we have a way that we're going to try to flip that. We're going to take our automatic negative thoughts and turn them into automatic positive thoughts. But first, we need to know what we're dealing with. So let's look at this slide. Some of our automatic negative thoughts include always or never thinking. So you creating polar opposites means you are forcing yourself to go one way or the other, and chances are you will go the negative way. If you obviously focus on the negative, what we focus on gets bigger, right? So if we focus on something that's negative, it actually takes up more of our function, more of our capacity, more of our focus, and it feels bigger than it is. So once we get into those patterns, it is hard to break them because it is so all-consuming when our thoughts are involved. Another ant is fortune telling. When we expect the very worst to happen, and we already outline the next 20 moves on, in this chess game of life, or in this, the way our sales call is going to go or our presentation will go, and we're expecting the worst to happen. right? That is absolutely keeping us in winter. On the flip side of that is mind reading. So we look at somebody and we tell them about our offer, or we offer to work with them, or we put ourselves out there and they think for a moment. And in that moment, we're like, oh my gosh, our offer is too expensive. They don't want to work with me. I'm not a proven person in this industry, and they have better offers. And oh my God, they're judging me. They don't know how to get away from me. And you are mind reading an entire movie, and they might just be thinking, did I take the chicken out of the freezer for dinner, right? We don't know. We're mind reading, but that is where we go. We go to self-judgment and self-criticism. Acting from our feelings. So we can't run a business from our feelings. We can't run a business of, does this feel right? Because our feelings don't always have our best intentions. Sometimes our feelings make us feel certain ways to protect us, or to keep us from harm, or to keep us from overexerting ourselves or trying something new, right? So our feelings don't always have our best interest. We need lots of different data points to be running our business. Feelings can absolutely be part of it. And for my business, it absolutely is, but I can't run my full business from my feelings. Because what if I don't feel like it? What if I have 6 clients today, but I don't feel like it? I can't run my business like that, right? So feelings are definitely a part of it, but it can't be the driving force in your business, because there are other equally important parts that have to be taken into consideration. Guilt trips on what we should be doing, right? We look around at the world and we're like, oh my God, I should be starting a podcast. I should be doing this. I should be going out and making 50 sales calls. I need to invest in, a professional video. I need to do all these things. And we're using the word should to kind of tell ourselves, yeah, see, they're better and they're doing it right. You should be doing that too. And because you're not, you aren't good, right? You are not very good at something. And so that piece is absolutely winter inducing, without question. The next one is labeling. So when we label ourselves as slow, right? One of my clients is like, I'm just really slow, Leanne. I'm just really slow. And I'm like, where did you get that label from? Oh, it's been my whole life. My parents have always told me I'm slow. And so we kind of dig into that a little bit. And turns out she's not slow at all. I don't know why they told her that. Perhaps in a moment, perhaps in, at a developmental level of age 3 or 5, she might have been slow in some way. Maybe she didn't want to get up in the morning, and so she was slow at getting ready or brushing her teeth or dragging herself out of bed. That doesn't make her slow. It was something it was a limiting belief that she still carried with her to this day. But when we unpack that, we're like, you know what? Labels actually keep you in a compartment that you don't always need to stay in. You aren't slow. The fact that you tell yourself that is a limiting belief for sure. But when you tell yourself, oh, it's because I'm slow, right? And you label yourself, it doesn't allow you to challenge that. It doesn't allow you to say, I need more time to process because this is really complex. Right? But I'm absolutely going to get through this. Sometimes you need to be slow. Sometimes you need to think something through. Not everything is a quick fix. Not everything is a fast decision. Some things are very complex, right? And if you think you're slow and slow equals bad, then you are always going to have that piece with you. And that is many ants on your picnic table. And the last one is blaming. So in this scenario, our automatic negative thoughts are created when anything happens around us and winter is swirling and we have to point the blame. It's his fault. She didn't buy the thing. That's why I can't pay my bills. Or he didn't believe in my thing. Or he didn't do it right. Or it's her fault or it's their fault, right? By pushing it off on everyone else, it secretly says, yeah, no, it's because you're not good enough. Right? They didn't do it right because you're not good enough as a teacher. You're not good enough as an entrepreneur. You're not good enough as a salesperson. You're not good as an implementer, right? So it is a way that we kind of push blame onto other people, but the secret meaning is we aren't good enough. And so once we understand these negative thoughts, these ants, I want you to think which ones actually are the ones that you use in your business. And it could be ones you use in your life too, right? It could be that what happens in your personal life and your professional life are very much the same thing. It might be that they're different. So think about this for you. Look down this list and think about what negative thoughts come up for you and start itemizing, like, what is it in winter that pushes me to have these thoughts? Because I want you to get to the point to understand that when you recognize how many times you have these negative thoughts, they're automatic, right? It's like breathing, it's like, blinking, things we don't think about. Our thoughts are automatic. When we start to make them less automatic, we really can own the process a little bit better, right? So that we're not hyper reactive, we're not in the moment just bouncing off of everything. We're actually able to control our thoughts. And if a thought comes in and it says, oh, I'm slow, you'll be like, no, I don't have all the information, right? Okay, so thought, mind, I don't have all the information. So don't tell me that I'm slow. I'm collecting data to make an informed decision. So there, right? You can challenge yourself. You can push back, but you have to know what your negative thoughts are in the first place. And if you find that you have many negative thoughts or you have many during the day, then you just have to know how much spaghetti you are generating in your brain by all of these strands. Every single negative thought is another strand. So are you full of spaghetti? Is your brain full of these strands of negative thoughts? Because the more negative thoughts you have, the more strands of spaghetti, the more flooding of those negative hormones that are in your body, which will absolutely impact your ability to sleep. Or it might, create a situation where you're holding on to weight, or you feel more lethargic, or you don't have energy to play with your kids, or your blood pressure is too high, or you're consuming too much sugar because you are so low in energy because of this, this chemical situation going on in your body. So it's really, for your wellness, absolutely. And for your entrepreneurial spirit, I don't want you to be going through your life thinking that you have to put on a fake face because behind the curtain, the curtain from the Wizard of Oz, there's just a negative winter storm swirling, but you're trying to show up perfect and totally in control for your clients. But behind the scenes, you're falling apart. That's not what we want. That is not healthy, and that will lead to burnout. At the very least, it will lead to burnout. So harness your negative thoughts, understand them, and deconstruct them and say, where did they come from and what do I need to do about them? Because that is the key to kind of releasing a little bit of the winter hold on you and helping you move through the various ways to get to spring. We're not there yet. We have a few more videos, so I will see you in the next module.